Okay, welcome back, guys. This is a fresh best of 3. Brand new match here in round 2 of the Home Story Cup 9 European qualifiers. I do want to remind everybody that this started with a round of 516 brackets, so it's taken a little bit of time to muddle on through. But this is brand new, 0-0. 0-0. No. Jinx! Emil, you can't talk. But spawning here in the lower right corner of the map, playing for Acer. Probably the least known of their players, but still a really damn good Zerg, Paranoid. And now I gotta like somehow get into serious caster guy mode after that last series with Beep. Big shoutouts go to Beep. Our hearts are with him. In the top right though, his opponent, MoolenMR, Mr. Moolen. I'm sorry, I read this name and I'm trying so hard not to say Mulan. Just start playing the music in the background. But ZVP, alright. Let's break it down. Let's try to be serious a little bit here. I'm gonna fail at it, but let's try to be serious here. So the way this is gonna probably play out, Paranoid, I really like his reactionary play, but if we're gonna be quite honest, guys, when he plays aggressive, he doesn't play so hot, I would say. That sounds a little bit strange to say in here if you've never seen Paranoid play, but it just feels like anytime he decides to be on the dials on the aggression, he attacks into like really, I don't know, awkward chokes. Bad engagement locations. He's not a bad player. I've seen him win more often than he's lost when we've had the pleasure of casting him. I'm just saying, like, it tends to not go in his favor when he decides to be the aggressor. So I think his reactionary play is a lot better, and it's definitely how I think a lot of Zerg are taking the I guess the metagame versus Protoss right now. Like, you know, you see the 3-gate, you build a lot of legs. You see a 4-gate, you try and get roaches out. You see Immortal Sentries, you gotta try and get Hydras at some point. Maybe defend with... there's a few players who can hold off with Ling Roach. But I mean, again, like, a lot of the pace of this game I feel is gonna be dictated by what MoolenMR does. Especially if Paranoid's gonna play to his strengths here. And as far as the bets go, guys, we won't talk about them too much, but they'll be going on until the end of this first game. Kind of gives you guys a flavor, a taste of how this is gonna go, and then we close the bets up for the best of 3, and you'll have to sit and wait. But Cybercore and such coming down the back, this is kind of interesting. I've talked about this before in the past. Once upon a time, Grubby was like the only guy who did this. There is no significant merit to doing this as a Protoss player versus Zerg. Versus Terran, this is really cool because it keeps Reapers from going behind your mineral line, but there's no real super duper benefit for doing this versus a Zerg player. Zealot's actually coming across the map here pretty quick with a Stalker. This is a little bit, I wouldn't say unconventional, but early for this to be going on. Normally this is where you'd have the Mothership Core, or you cancel the Zealot and instead build the Nexus for the expansion, but Paranoid, it's got like a couple Lings coming out to scout. Looking around for pylons. Unfortunately, none are down, and the Stalker will actually get a nice kill here in the top. This is a big mistake out of Paranoid, actually. Losing your first Overlord, it's not like the end of the game, but it's one of the most expensive things in the early game next to a Queen, and you can't really afford to spend a larva on it. A lot of the time, you need each of these to be a drone, so albeit supply blocked for only a few moments, nothing too devastating. He's going to have to make another Overlord again already, so a bit unfortunate in that regard, but here comes that first Zealot that did come across the map. Zealot can one-on-one a Queen if done correctly, but Queens usually don't just sit there and fight. The Stalker coming to might make this a little bit more harsh, but there's 3 Queens, and quite frankly, guys, with a Spinecrawler as well, Paranoid's not gonna die to this poke, and that's all it's really meant to be, a bit of a poke. Almost gets the Creep Tumor. Oh my god, with 1 HP, that thing survives. Do Creep Tumors have armor? No, they don't. How does the Stalker not do enough damage to kill it? It only hits for even numbers, so does the Zealot. How does that come out with an odd amount of health? WTF? Okay, well, this like aggression being put on by MoolenMR right now is, I don't think, worthwhile at all. Not to be overly critical, but I mean, look how late this Nexus is coming down. There's not going to be any SimCity at the front. There's 3 gates. If he's really putting on the pressure like this, he's got to kill something. It's not enough to simply poke at Creep Tumors. Paranoid doesn't have metabolic boost coming, guys, worth noting. This is a bit unfortunate, so Lynx can only really afford to fight on creep, but these Lynx can certainly deal with the Stalkers as long as he fights in range of the Spinecrawler. This is where a lot of the attention is going to go, and let's not forget, transfuses will be available, so this thing won't die soon, but it is really important, as it's the best way to hold off against us. Now, this is actually a really nice move, too. It's been said before, it'll always be said again, the best defense is a good offense. Sending his lings out like this gives him two different options. One is to wrap around for the back end, another is to go for the pylon, or even a third option that I didn't even think of, is just run across the map and go for your opponent's probe line, knowing that they've got nothing at home. This one Zergling actually confirms that. Anyways, Transfuse is going down. He does get a surround on most of these units. The Zealots not fighting, but instead kiting for their lives. It should just be the Stalkers that are running right now. Because of this, the Zerglings get a lot of free hits on those Zealots, and now there's no buffer for the Stalkers. MoolenMR's attack is pretty much just shut down. Once Metabolic Boost kicks in, these Stalkers are just dead. These Zerglings are going to kill the pylon over here to the right. But more importantly than this, they can go kill the probe line. There's, again, nothing at home. He's putting down 2 Stargates as part of the wall. 2 Stargate follow-up. What? You can't afford anything that... Okay, I guess, what, you pump double Phoenix? Maybe? You cannot really afford 2 Void Rays off 2 bases like this. Well, we're just gonna have to wait a moment and see. A couple Zealots here to try and hold the line, but his first target's gonna need to be canceled. He's got a really nice surround out with some pretty good surface area. That Metabolic Boost is going to kick in. These Zerglings actually getting right on top of the Stalkers, so Moolen's going to lose a good portion of his units over here on the bottom side. And once this breaks, he's going to run right past all these Zealots. Not a problem. They're on hold position, sadly. This opens a way to the main. They're not fast enough to respond. The Stalkers go down, and when the Zealots go to chase to the main, this leaves the natural base open once again. So these Zerglings come rushing in. They prevent the gateway from going down. Oof, that's going to be rough. He's just running away from the Zealots because he doesn't need to fight near them. Probes are being kind of stacked around and trying to drill, but it's not going to work, not without doing actual damage. A couple of these Zealots are getting surrounded upon, actually, and the Zerglings, well, they don't have to fight the probe line if they can pick off the pylons, if they can go for the Nexus. Depower one of the gateways, maybe. Probe's coming back to the main to try and defend this. I guarantee he's going to pull into this because he knows he has to stop this from going down. However, the more he pulls these probes around, the less mining that's currently going on, and that Stargate is slowly but surely dying behind this. So decides to put some pressure back in the mineral line. Paranoid is not getting a lot of worker kills so far, guys. Worth noting, he's just having some trouble playing Ring Around the Rosie with these Zealots, but still, the panic going on for Moolen right now. MoolenMR. Moolen. I'll make a man out of you. That's not even a tune. I'm terrible. Anyway, Stargate gonna get focused here to make sure that there's not gonna be any Oracle shenanigans, no Phoenix to make him have a headache. And Paranoid can disengage. He can go back in for the probes. Either way, the point is, Zealots cannot catch these. They're too damn slow. I mean, really, at this point, I'm just like, Moolen, how do you not have 2 Zealots on hold position on this ramp to make sure these things can't go up and down freely as they choose? And the same token for Paranoid, I almost kind of wish he would have made a Baneling Nest while this was going on. Like, these Zerglings have been here for way too long. Their presence has been way too big, and if he had been able to get a couple Baneling hits off, he would have certainly killed more than about the 8 workers that have gone down. But more Zerglings are flooding across the map, and a Baneling Nest is on the way! Because again, the other benefit is Zealots do take bonus damage from Banelings. They are light units! However, he's got to make sure he doesn't throw too many of these lings away before that happens, because of course you're going to need the Zerglings to become the actual Banelings a little bit later on, and the Zealot count is getting a little out of hand. It's weird to see this many Zealots go on. This is like the tier 1, this is like a mono battle almost at this point. Like, the other thing too, where is the Mothership Core in all of this? How has Moolen not made a Mothership Core? Can you imagine if there was 1 Mothership Core and 2 Zealots in hold position? How much easier this defense would have been? But a Baneling Nest on the way. All the Zerglings have pretty much been cleaned up on the other side of the map, and Paranoid's got a lot of queens. He's got a lot of drones, and he's got a 3rd base. Everything is looking really good for our Zerg player at the moment. This is just weird. Today's Home Story Cup Qualifier is just brought to you by Weird Games Inc. What's strange to consider is this many queens combined with Banelings, this will actually destroy the Zealots. They're gonna have a hard time killing this many queens that have transfuses. And not to mention the Banelings will come from behind. Look at the damage the queens are doing! Why does a support unit hit so hard, so fast? Here come the Banelings and the Zealots in full retreat, kind of one of those oh crap moments! Now he is going to split them pretty decently, but it's not going to matter because most of them get eradicated. And the ones that do split, it's weird to consider, guys, but this is almost like Mutalisks, right? When Marines split, the Mutalisks pounce on the low numbers, and that's precisely what the Queens are trying to do. But this is so dumb. Paranoid's actually off of creep with his queens, running across the map at the moment, which means he's defenseless at home currently. And this force that's poking around isn't that big, but it's enough to cause some real damage if given the opportunity. Alright, Bailey's gonna come charging in here. A couple more Zealots are gonna go down. But you know, those Banelings are meant for the probe lines. They're not meant for the Zealots. Like, these are not for you. Queens are so slow behind this, but what's really dumb when it comes to resources lost, guys... Well, actually, these overlords are a big mistake. He's giving away a lot. Paranoid, perhaps a little too cocky, a little too complacent with how he's handling this. With the queens coming across the map, what's really dumb is A, finally there's some sentries out, but B, these are gonna die. And each of these is 150 minerals. I don't want to do math on stream, but 15 times 150 is way over 1,000. So this is gonna be so messy. Zerglings get in on the mess. I kind of want to almost see a transfuse go off on a Zergling. I'm not even kidding you guys. But the force fields keep these back, and the queen's still on the front lines. Lots more Banelings coming in, and this is the last way you would ever see a ZVP get played out on a professional level. But these two are taking it there. Banelings, a unit almost never utilized versus Protoss due to the functionality of force fields. But queens, with their incredible range, can reach over the force fields and shoot the freaking sentries. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, but it's working. And Paranoid, he could have gone for Mutalisks behind us. He's on 3 base economy, but he wants to show off and have some fun. So I say props to him, because he's definitely making this a little more interesting. Banelings charging through the front lines. The sentries are running out of energy, and the queens, oh god, the queens are still standing. God save the queen. Banelings segment off to the ramp. Could have gone towards the main, but I think he's really focused on killing the last couple stalkers. Okay. Not even GG, just okay. I imagine that. What's he gonna say here next? He's gonna kill the Nexus! Alright, well, Nexus goes down and Paranoid pushes on through. Baneling's heading towards the main, and this is... the Queen's in the natural hard. Baneling's taking out most of the probes. This is over. I think MoolenMR knows it. And game number 1 in this weird best of 3 will go to Acer Paranoid.